Hi everyone, I'm here today with my April wrap-up, all of the books that I read in the month of April. So for April I had quite an ambitious TBR pile, and I only ended up finishing 6 books from the list, and I had about 14 or 15 books, but I knew I wasn't going to get through all of the books. I'm happy that I read almost half of them. The first book that I finished in April was Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. It is obviously a reread for me. As you can see, it is in Russian, so yeah, that's my old copy of the book. Oh well. Obviously 5 stars. The next book that I read was a book club book for the book club. That was for the category traveling to a different country, and in the month of April we were traveling to England, where I live now, and the book that was chosen was Ale and Cakes, or The Skeleton in the Cupboard, if I'm not mistaken, by Somerset Maugham. I gave that book 3 stars. This book was about a man who is asked to write a biography of the very famous author. He's asked by his wife, and whilst doing that he remembers the things because he knew that author very much in the past. He remembers his first wife, the author's first wife, Rosie. She casts an embarrassing shadow over his career and respectable image, and I listened to it as an audiobook. I don't know, there wasn't anything really memorable, anything that I would enjoy very much. It was nice read. I really liked Rosie as a character, even though she's not a bad character. I liked her personality somehow. She's free, she can do whatever she wants. I liked listening to this audiobook, but there wasn't anything outstanding, so I gave that book 3 stars. The next book that I read, I borrowed it from the library and I already gave it away, but that was The House of Silk by Anthony Horowitz. That was a Sherlock Holmes novel, a modern one, and I was a bit anxious about going into it because I'm a huge fan of Sherlock Holmes, but I really liked the original ones written by Arthur Conan Doyle, and I was really anxious about going into a book written by a different author, especially considering he's a modern author, but I decided to give it a go. And I recently did a review on this book, so I will leave the link to it down below, and if you are interested you can check it out. This book starts with Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson sitting near the fireplace drinking their tea, and then there comes a man who is telling them the story that he's stalked by a scar-faced man, and Sherlock Holmes is interested in that case, and whilst going deeper into this case, he encounters the phrase "the House of Silk," which no one knows what it is about, and it is a very mysterious place which no one talks about. I gave that book 3 stars. I explained all of my reasons in my review, so if you're interested in my thoughts and in comparisons to the original Sherlock Holmes, you can watch my review. The next book that I read, it was another book for the book club, and that was for the classic literature category somehow, but it is My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier. I will probably do a review on this book, I am not quite sure. And also something happened to my Goodreads. Somehow it is in the section read, but it isn't in my reading challenge, 2017 reading challenge, so I don't quite know what happened there. But anyway, it started with two brothers. One of them cared about another one because the younger brother didn't have parents. The elder brother goes to a trip, and then he falls in love and marries someone, and then their life changes. Then he suddenly dies. I'm not spoiling anything, that's the description on Goodreads. The younger brother is expecting now the wife, the widow of his brother, his cousin. I got confused there, I think they're cousins. Anyway, and he's prepared to wait for her, hating her because he suspects that she can be blamed for his cousin's death, and things don't go by plan. So this book was really interesting. I gave that book 4 stars. It was a cozy read. I liked Rachel as a character, even though she's not the best, but she's a really interesting character. And I also really liked the bond between the 2 cousins. It was just so cute. In case I'm doing a review, I'm not going to go much into details about this book. The next book I actually DNF'd, so didn't finish it, and that was another book from the library. It was House of Bells by Chas Brenchley. It was a horror story, and it was about a woman who is asked to go on investigation to a commune house. She needs to find out what happened to the journalist who came there before her, and he disappeared. This book started really slow. I didn't like the main character at all. I didn't like what she was doing. I didn't like what she was thinking, and it was so slow going. I think I read more than 100 pages, and that book was only 250 pages or something like that. And she only just went to that commune, and I just lost interest. I didn't even want to continue reading this book. I know that I didn't even reach the point where the horror stuff would happen, but I wasn't interested in it, and I already needed to give the book away to the library because it was going to be overdue soon. So I had to give it away, and I didn't have any interest to pick it up again, so I just decided not to go with it. It was so boring for me, and there was nothing to keep me going. I wasn't interested in it enough to continue reading it, so I just didn't finish it. The next book is another book for the book club, and that was for the category Modern Literature, The House at Rivertone, or in another edition it is called The Shifting Fog by Kate Morton. The Goodreads description is very vague, so I'm not sure I can tell you much about this book, but it is basically about a house, a family living in the house, a writer who committed suicide, and there were 2 sisters involved in it. So the story is told from a perspective of a servant. She is remembering the things that happened in the past, how this all happened, and things like that. So no one really knows why he committed suicide. I gave that book 4 stars. It was really interesting. I'm not really sure if I liked any of the characters at all. The pacing of the book was really perfect. It wasn't fast, it wasn't slow going, it was just perfect, and I didn't find myself being bored by the book. I was really interested in what was going to happen next, and I liked how at some points she was remembering the past and some points were in the present, and it was just really interesting. And sometimes she would give us an idea of what's going to happen in a few years. That was quite interesting as well, to see how they would come to the things that would happen later. It was also, this book was set, I think, in the period where there were the World War I. It touched themes that war changes people. That was quite interesting. This book was about many things. It was about loyalty, about relationships between sisters, war. It was a bit of a kind of mystery type thing, and a bit of a historical, just a tiny bit of history. I don't know if I will do a review on this book as well or not. I might consider it, so we'll see. And the last book that I finished, it was another book for the book club, and the category was the author of the month. It was Margaret Atwood, and in my TBR I said that I would be reading The Blind Assassin by this author, but at the point when I finished the one book, it was the 26th of April, and I didn't have much time to finish that huge book, so I had to pick up something shorter, and I decided to go with The Handmaid's Tale. I gave that book 3 stars. At first it was really difficult for me to read because I wasn't really interested in what was happening, but then I became more interested in it. In this society, some women are divided into by their functions, let's say. And so our main character, she is supposed to just give birth, to babies. So I think it's a 2-year period for one person, something like that. And it's like, I think it is set in the future, but not quite too far in the future. I wasn't a huge fan of the book. Some points were interesting. I wasn't a huge fan of the writing style. I didn't like really any of the characters at all. I wasn't connected to any of them. So those were all of the books that I finished in April. Please let me know in the comments down below what books you have read in the month of April. What was your favorite book? Mine would be probably My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier, or The House at Riverton by Kate Morton. Thank you for watching. Bye!